Hello, Music 100 students. I want to first start by thanking many of you who have been doing your work appropriately, and you're receiving the appropriate scores for that, and I want you to please continue what you're doing. Today, I'm not going to do a lot of housekeeping. I'll send another video for housekeeping. I'll get right down to business because we have a test on. I'm going to make it on Friday. I think the 15th is Thursday, but it'll be open until Sunday night. So good luck. Do not miss deadlines. I've been saying this from day one. If you have any questions, apply early. Do not wait till the last minute. Enough of housekeeping. So let me just tell you the order of what we're going to do things. After the 15th, we'll pretty much have a chapter a week. So if you have your textbook, here's my textbook. Okay, that's what it looks like. I want to be honest with you. OER, as it lists in the books, are not required. OER is very difficult in the sense that this class is unique, that it covers specific instruments that relate to music performance and culture from around the world. So OER may not be completely up to speed with some of these issues. So remember, your discussion board will represent your oral analysis. Oral analysis is learning by hearing. So I've put up a host of videos, and remember, you should actually watch the videos. Now I'm making sure that I attach the syllabi information with the duties that you're supposed to do right there, so you don't have to go back and forth, but the syllabi was provided as a download for you. So let me get to some terms about music in the ending that chapter that we just left, the music fundamentals. I slowed everything down so you can get acclimated to this situation. So at this point, I'm assuming everybody is on board. Sorry for the shadow in the back. I didn't feel like pulling out all the lights and stuff for you guys today, but that's okay. So medium. The medium is, today it's my voice and it's this video. Medium is the tool that you use to transmit knowledge, okay? So we hear in three ways. I guess that's right. Oral, I'm talking. Oral, by hearing, and by written. Okay, so the written part is what you'll see online as well. So you want to keep those things in line, and the medium is using those things. If you've taken a marketing class, then you know what medium is. It's the exact same thing. So in this class, under my supervision, we involve everything. We involve the science. Music involves everything, people. So to be small-minded and just say, it's over there, it's over this, it's this, that's not factual. And you should divorce yourself from that type of thinking. So I'm going to get right down to business. So there's going to be a document that I'm going to post up for you. I've been having some parsing difficulties with it, but it's actually done. But I'm going to post it online for you, hopefully this weekend. I've been working on it for about a week. It's taken a minute. But let's keep it simple. Scale, interval, range. A scale is a succession of pitches. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. I think I put that in a video before. Intervals are each one of those pitches. Do, re. So that's a scale interval of 2 notes or a second. Do, re, mi. That's an interval of what? A third. Do, re, mi, fa. And that's how we learn intervals. Intervals are the distance. Do not believe what the book says, these lights are hot. What the book says when intervals are different. Every pitch is different, ladies and gentlemen. Okay? A melody is a succession of pitches forming a musical idea. In other words, you need to be able to repeat it. When you listen to music, such as the Glenn Gould, and I'm going to push the Glenn Gould paper off. Some papers will be due at the same time, but you need to start them at different times, people. Don't tell me that you couldn't do it. I'm not going to do housekeeping. I'm trying to avoid that. So melody, you want to recognize the melody of a song first, okay? Most music does have a melody attached to it, and you want to recognize it, and then you can start to talk about the melodic contour, which is the shape and direction of a melody, okay? Okay? So you want to kind of, in a sense, have a visualization of how range, which is a span of pitches, so low, high. Okay, you can't see my hand. It's way up there. There it is. And you just want to understand that concept when you're hearing. I don't expect you to be musicians, okay? That would mean that you have an instrument and you're practicing. And when you're doing your practice every day, you start to learn these things naturally because you're doing it every day. So if that's not you, don't worry. Just keep a general concept. Make sure when you watch the videos, you're applying the terms. Write the terms down on a piece of paper, like my little notes right here. I don't know if you can see them, to remind me of what I'm going to cover right here. So you can do that too and remember what you're supposed to focus on as you're listening and try to use that. I can tell that the video of trumpet performance. Those of you who watched it, it resonated in your writings. Okay, and those of you who didn't watch it, well, there it is. That's a decision on you, people. You'll be sanctioned when you don't do things properly, and you'll be rewarded when you do. Okay, so let's move on with another handful of words. Ornamentation is the same thing what you do in Christmas time. If you celebrate Christmas, you buy a Christmas tree and you put ornaments on it. What do the ornaments do? I won't say what it is. You tell me what it is, and you put it in your paper. That's what ornamentation is. It's the exact same thing. So you have a melody, and you do something with the melody that's not in the melody. I just let it out the bag. Text setting. Scat singing. Someone brought up scat singing, and I was very impressed with that. But I'm even more impressed when you cite it, because that's not, local knowledge unless you're from a certain age, and then that makes total sense. But that's where you have the notes are more important than maybe the words to a song, such as bop. Okay. Excuse me. Choked on that one. Okay. Rhythm. Categorize your rhythm into, I guess, 5 sections. The beat, which is a regular pulsation. The tempo, which is a speed. Okay. An accent. Okay. An accent was on the 1. And that was 1, 2, 3, 4. Meter is the grouping of beats, okay? There's 4, and here's the other 4. And then rhythmic density. So now that we're going to Africa in our studies, you're going to learn about polyrhythms. That's the largest rhythm density that you can find. And they wrote a language on that. It's called talking drums. So that's one of the key points of Africa that traveled around the world with people like myself and other people, meaning that I'm, partially African. You can't deny that. And so, but what it does mean, if I set us all up in class, we find out that all y'all don't have rhythm. So it is true. All black people do not have rhythm, and all black people cannot jump. Just know that moving ahead, okay? So rhythm is something you have to learn. If you're born in a situation whereas your family plays rhythm, you were in the womb and your mother was singing, like Karen Clark Shear's daughter, she was singing. It's natural to assume that her child will come out singing. Now, whether they decide to pursue that or not, that's different. But some things come by being in the environment. So if you've never been in that environment, I would not expect you to have natural rhythm. And if you did, well, then you're a genius. And geniusy does exist, people. There are some people that are just naturally have a natural inclination to do and to be certain things, whereas others of us have to work very hard at that, okay? So another word, phonic structure. Phonic structure is the overall structure of the sound. Phonic means sound, structure means the shape, direction, structure, like a building block. And that is really referenced in these videos, like with the Glenn Gould. When you talk about phonic structure, we're talking about the orchestra, not necessarily or only what Glenn Gould is doing at the piano, because the piano is a polyphonic instrument. Oh, that's a new word, right? Poly means what? Many. Phonic means what? Sound. So keep these words together. Also in monophonic or monophony. I like monophonic just to move into the active situation of the word. When we looked at the drone, which was one continuous sound, that's an example of monophonic music. Also, oh, say, can you see? That's another example of monophonic song. We generally don't sing anthems in harmony unless you're from a choir and you're from a singing tradition, which is not as common as you think. Interdependent polyphony, that is the fugue. I'm going to put up a video of a fugue where you can hear where one voice starts, or maybe I'll play one. I have my keyboard in front of me, but it's not set up for visuals. I'm going to post a video of me playing so you guys don't think I'm just some guy giving you a hard time and I know nothing about music. I'll post one of the piano concerto concerts that I did, just so you have an understanding. Heterophonic, that's where you have the same sound. But what I want you to do when I post these slides up for you, I want you to learn the words by looking them up, okay? And making sure that you have an understanding of what they are, so that when you're tested on them, you can actually answer the questions properly. Now, our direction for the semester, for the rest of the semester, will be thus. Once we do that midterm, and probably prior to that, I think next week I'll start on the Caribbean. So usually we go Africa, Sub-Saharan Africa. I won't say the chapter numbers. You can find them in your book. And then we have the Caribbean, and then the next one will be South America. Following will be Europe. then the Middle East, East Asia, and South Asia. That, and then the final chapter, I forgot to put it on my list, would be United States. Excuse me. After we finish United States, then we're going to backtrack and look at particular instrument ensembles from different parts in the country. Now, I do hope you will be reading. Also, in discussion board will be your videos, and that's where your oral analysis will occur. So do take time to watch the videos. Now, I put videos up generally 3 to 4 weeks before they're due, people. So when you show up the day before and you say it closed, it didn't happen, sorry. That's unfortunate. I move on. Okay, now let me add this, because remember, this is not about housekeeping today. I'll do another video today and just address everything dealing with housekeeping. But I want to get this out in front of you so that as I post these, I don't know what you would call them. They're actually going to be PDFs. They were supposed to be EPUBs, but it wasn't parsing with Blackboard. So the PDFs are going to cover oral analysis. It's also going to cover music fundamentals. The music fundamentals information is already online. It's under music history. And those of you who are not checking things, well, I'm not going to hear you when you say, I didn't know. I'm going to say, I can't hear you. What was that? Okay, so make sure you're doing everything right. Okay, now, CCCRI. What is CCCRI? CCCRI is continent, country, culture, religion, instrument. This is a working document, an outline. Do not include it in your writing. Just use it as a working document to help you build your writing or things that you're going to discuss in your writing, okay? So I will post something for that, and it will break down each section. I already have it done. I was hoping it would be more pizzazz to it, but I can't keep waiting for the software to do all these things. So I'm going to post that up. But remember, culture. Culture is one of the most important things, because as we're moving now, we're talking about culture. So culture is always music, dance, food, language, clothing, art. Okay, these 6 things. So you can have ample opportunity to cover and write about those things in your writings. So try not to forget those items. So just to recap, I like to recap what we discussed. We're going to cover a chapter pretty much a week or maybe every handful of days. You could start at any time, people. You could be ahead of the curve. You can, again, write papers. By the way, we're not doing that museum bit. I didn't feel it was necessary to mention that because the city's closed down, people. So do not go to the museum saying, oh, I'm going to do it for a Music 100 class. I'm not even at the museum. By the way, the images that you see in most of the things that I print up, those are actually my pictures that I took at the museum, which is why, ladies and gentlemen, I do not have to cite a source, because I am the source. If you take a picture from somewhere, you possibly and most likely need to cite that source, unless it's from 75 years from now. Those things fall under copyright protection. So be advised on that. So when I say MLA styling, that usually means you need to have a works cited page. Again, folks, I'm trying not to cover certain things. I'm going to do that in the next video and be a little more detailed. So we're going to do Africa, the Caribbean, South America, Europe, the Middle East, East Asia, South Asia, and then we'll do United States. I like to use the United States for the latter part because that's where we are and that's what we're probably familiar with. But we're not going to talk about so much American music. We're probably going to look at music from unique places, like DC has go-go music, and other places in the United States that if you've never been there, you probably don't even know that it exists. But we'll get to that. Also, phonic structure, music fundamentals. That would be the terms. What's the page here? The page is page 30 if you have your textbook, this version. And it's in all the versions of the textbook. That's why version of the textbook doesn't matter to me. If you still don't have the textbook, it's not too late to order one online. And you only pay $15 for it or whatnot, and you can get caught up. I'll just break down the book for you. Without showing you, because then I'm committing plagiarism or copyright infringement. So I would just tell you what we're talking about. Chapter 3 is important for if you're writing, but it's not a necessity. You just need to know what emic and etic is. Emic is a cultural perspective from an insider. Etic is the outsider, okay? E-me, the E-M-I-C. E-T-I-C, E-them, okay? So outside, inside. Don't write that on the test. Students write that on the test and get it wrong. It doesn't tell me what it is. It tells me what you remember. I need to know what it is, okay? So when we go to Africa, or any chapter in the book, it starts off with background preparation. Your background preparation would represent the continent continental information in the CCCRI. So if you're talking about a continent, I'm still trying to find the chapter, then certain things, there's no date to a continent, folks. We don't know when that happened. We can only guesstimate. Certain things, natural resources, temperature, weather, all these things are important. By the way, when you're writing an essay or your term paper, because we're going to talk about that in a bit, I'm glad I remembered that. Your term paper or your research paper, you want to make sure that you include, here we go. Okay, I'm just trying to find this chapter. I had everything set up, then I touched something. Okay, let me just stay on one topic. So on Africa, the background preparation. When you're writing your term paper, don't write the country is 11 million square miles long. Folks, whenever you're writing, okay, if you give a date, you have to cite. Date is a fact. A quote is a type of fact. A definition, these are facts. You have to cite. Plagiarism is an academic crime, and you can be expelled from the university, and you will fail all your classes, and then you can what? So I'm telling you, as we go, do not do that. That's why I put the little clause there, say MLA styling. That means have a works cited page, not a reference page. You need to look and see what it is. I provided links for you to click on, so it takes you right to the site. So when you say I don't know, I didn't know. I stop hearing. I can't hear you because it's all been provided for you. So you didn't, associate yourself with Blackboard and the environment for this class, okay? People who tell me about their other class and other issues, I close my ears because I have issues. I have other this, and we all do. We're in Corvid, folks. So I'm trying to make this as easy as possible for you. So remember to take the time with a fine-tooth comb, because I'm giving you a whole lot of time, and properly prepare yourself. Keep good notes, Let's see. Mine are all scratchy, scribbly. It doesn't matter. It's only for you. Keep some notes on the side, and write and jot a little something down as you go, so you don't have to try to remember everything like I'm doing right now when you're talking, okay? So in the background preparation, we'll learn that in Africa there's pharaohs. Where else is there a pharaoh in the world? There isn't. So these things are relevant to the continental information. Also, what is black gold? Black gold was people like me, slaves. Who were these slaves? Were they just some ignorant people they picked up with no skills? No, these were farmers. These people had abilities. This is why when you look at the West Indies, you can see that they had a lot of, what was the crop students always tell me? A sugar cane. Well, it wouldn't be there without these people. So let's not assume that. And secondly, slaves were not on the boat. Okay? These were people they stole. They had to be sold and bought. And then, folks, they became the slaves. And that's why the World Trade Tower is the World Trade Center is very important, because you could see some of the locations to this day where they actually auctioned off slaves. So the next part in our little breakdown is the country. And under the country, you will start to see, I think the first case in our textbook is Ghana. And I might just make a listing for you, just assuming that you may not have the book. I may just list all the countries and the instruments, but I will never give you the definitions. If I give you a definition, it'll be here, I'll talk to you, but I won't put it in writing. Okay, that way I don't have to cite a source. See, I'm very smart at this, folks. So certain things we would need to know about the country of Ghana. The Ndrinka signs, that's what this is. I really love this one, God only, okay? The Ndrinka symbols is something that you will find only in that country. Colors, cloths, this goes back to culture. Also, the talking drums are relevant throughout Africa. And remember, these talking drums speak different languages, and there will be a video provided for you as well. But if you have the textbook and the recordings, which you don't have to buy the CD if you don't want to. They have some samples of it. But I found some nice videos that I'll provide as well in discussion boards. And also, remember, in the discussion board, people, does not always mean that you have to write something. You have to read, write, and submit a paper that is requested. When you deviate from that, people, I know immediately. And I say, what are they doing? And why are they doing this to themselves? So the next one after that would be culture. And culture can be found throughout Africa. In all these countries, there's culture. But we want to distinguish things that are relevant to the continent, not to the world exposure after they left the continent, but mainly in the continent. And you're going to see that the culture has been derived from the colonization. And I'll tell you one group, that's the Berlin Conference of 1884 to 85. You should know about that because that's the group that went and broke up the interior of Africa. We're still the exterior, and we're still learning about the interior of Africa because a lot of that was not explored. And it amazes me that a group of Europeans can, just come into your neighborhood and say, listen, this is mine, this is theirs, this is, the other. And you've been here since millennia. But the fact that you had knives and spears and they had, gunpowder, that kind of changes, the scene of things. But the one segue I'll do for today, you kind of see that where you see people with guns and then you see people without guns. And remember, this is an ancient thing. And if you don't know the history, then the history will repeat itself. And guess what? I'll leave that for you to decide. So some of the instruments that we're going to look at, which would be the next are, so CCCRI, religion. Religion is three things: beliefs, practices, and rituals. If you find out of something more, do let me know and I will add that to it. Okay, but in Africa, a lot of the instruments and the religion, they're intermerged. There's a symbiotic relationship between the two. So then we will look at the instruments and the music and why they were created, etc., etc. And at this point, I'm going to stop because I have gone to 20 minutes, which is the longest video I've made for you guys yet. I do hope that it helps. I'm going to edit it real quick and put a little, few little terms that drop out. So in case I'm talking too fast for some of you, you can look up later and re-inform yourself about what it is. Talk to you guys soon. It was a pleasure. And I do look forward to reading your writings and hearing from you in office hours if you have questions. And if you can't do office hours, you need to get as a group and prepare yourself to present a time that maybe 4 or 5 of you can meet with me at that time. I don't want to do individual things because that becomes a little bit time consuming on my behalf, and you need to find a better way. Okay, so if you're clear in your writing, I will be clear in my responses. Ladies and gentlemen, do take care of yourself. Ciao for now.